explosive news. Folks, it's funny where I'm at in life and where Canadians aren't. Canadian First Peoples clearly aren't either. The propaganda of the filthy, lying Canadian media. I knew this was coming. I don't want it on my plate just right now, but I have to answer these things. And it's just so terrible what's going on in the Canadian media with the BS. The total BS. First Nations, I'm going to tell you something. When I say First Nations, it's a dear Canadian First Nations, First Peoples, and American Indians. One is a citizen, one is legally a savage. I'm sorry, I didn't create the Indian Act, I didn't create the Canadian model. And what you don't know, USA, UK Treaty, J Treaty, old, pre-Canada by a lot. American history stuff. First Peoples, you get the J Treaty to America. All American Indians don't get reciprocity, meaning their status as American Indians disappear at the Canadian border. It's why they don't come see you. Very rare, because going through Canada's government. Where's your passport, savage? You're no Indian citizen here. Do you think this is new? No. Upon the ascension of Queen Elizabeth II, after the death of King George VI, Canada was free to appoint their own Canadian Governor Generals, their own Canadian Lieutenant Governors of all provinces and territories. And the first thing those Canadians did, fuck USA and fuck your Indian citizens. They are savages here. They're savages. They don't get self-determination. They don't get self-government. You won't let those fucking savages enter into Canada and poison our First Peoples who we've locked down. I got a news flash for you, First Peoples of Canada. Your chiefs are corrupted entirely by the Canadian British evil system. Removed everything of who you people are. Do you know what the United States of America is, everybody? Do you know what it is? It's the assimilation of the American Indian by the 13 colonies of the former British Empire who gained the Indian strength, the Indian knowledge, the Indian political system. Did you know federalism was invented by who? The First Peoples, the American Indians. Yeah. Do you know who you don't find in chains in history? Do you know which peoples in the world you can't find a record of successfully enslaving them? Is it Caucasians? Nope. They've been in chains. They're in chains right now. I'm in chains right now. I'm a subject in Canada. I must obey my divine superior. Caucasians have been in chains. Blacks have been in chains. Latinos have been in chains. Asians have been in chains. Do you know what race of people has never been in chains? Not successfully put into chains? The red race. The North American Indian peoples. Well, they may not have been as technologically advanced as the European colonizers. They were far advanced in political and military design. They had federalism. Where does Confederacy come from? Where does the Confederate come from in the United States of America? Oh yeah, those are Indian words. Oh yeah, Iroquois Confederacy, Blackfoot Confederacy. Holy shit! No one put that together, eh? No one understood how America, a tiny 13 colonies, was able to take the mighty British Empire, first peoples in world history. How did they do it? Oh yeah, they adopted federalism, Indian federalism. They were assimilated by the American Indians. That group of people saw a better way and were assimilated. Yeah. America's entirely Indian in its political structure and design. The founding fathers and the 150 years of those 13 colonies in ordinances as they developed constitutionalism based in federalism, division of powers. And how did they get their military strength? Oh yeah, all the Indian conflicts, and then they assimilated the militia style that united federally under federalism the Confederates, the Confederate Army. The first Constitution of the United States of America was already written into those British 13 colonies in ordinances. The first constitutions written were done by those 13 colonies before the United States of America, before the Revolutionary War. So many of them. Look at Massachusetts. Where did they get those concepts? From the North American Indians. Again, if you've missed PBS, they introduced the United States of America Revolutionary War in a longhouse on Iroquois Confederacy. And they go through that and they say we owe everything that is America to the American Indians. Yeah. Your system, who you people are, lives on in America, not Canada. You've been culturally so suppressed. 300 years of institutionalization in a system that couldn't break your peoples, couldn't put you in chains. So they genocide you, they culturally, spiritually, and by body genocide you. They remove everything of who you people are from you entirely through the Indian Act so that you could never manifest that American system that's entirely yours politically. You invented it. This is truth, reality. What are the American Indians today in America doesn't migrate across the northern border because Canada arbitrarily ended a USA-UK treaty. And everyone's telling you that Donald J. Trump better not end the other 13 treaties of all the private property in Canada. Well, don't worry. USA don't work like that. Just go look at Texas 83 years ago. The Spanish Texas Revolutionary War. Oh, they got independence like Alberta and Quebec think they're going to get. Like all these other British colonial assets thought they got, they never did. They're still beholden to the British Empire. Nobody's able to break that. I have the best academics from America working on Barbados, Jamaica, and guess what? They're having a hell of a time trying to break that British out. I gave the legal path to independence that required the allies of World War II and at least penmanship without a veto. That is not currently possible for Alberta and Quebec. You've alienated absolutely China and Russia. You may have USA, but they can't give you nation status on their own. You could become a 51st state, possibly, but USA for all the trouble it's worth, and then worrying about all of the Crown land and the Indian settlements that overlap massive nations. Go look at the treaty overlaps. It's not worth it for America because they've been working on Indian settlements for over 100 years solid, very patient, just like statehood, very patient system. Many First Nations that are American Indian nations today in the United States have tremendously more rights, more land, more resource extraction potential, business, and everything else. A lot of those nations, especially out west in what I call the Indian states, with we the people judicial systems, again invented by who? The American Indians, the First Peoples of Canada, that have lost all of that after 300 years of suppression, absolutely the last 150 years under a genocidal ruling regime. Conservative, liberal, known as Tory, Whigs, and everybody else in between. They're all in on it. It's so epically evil. It's evil beyond all measure. I'm going to do the analysis. I have to now. I've got to add that to my plate on an aggressive schedule of work, and absolutely more on 51st State, trying to get party registry, and getting the signature drive done. That's drying up really fast. I'm over 800, maybe 830. I haven't officially counted, but it's trickling in last night. We've hit a wall. The Tory machine on overdrive from Pierre Poilievre. Lots of people who follow me, at least some were very honest to say, well, we're going with Alberta independence. We don't need 51st State. We don't want Alberta 51st State. We're going to go with that. Or we're going with Pierre Poilievre. We can fix Canada. That's what I'm getting from at least a handful of honest people. On average, Canada 51st State. I see it. John Harder sees it. All my administrators do on the page. You see the hourly activity on our page, how many people are active, way over 1,000 to 1,500 on any minute you click on the page as administrator. So it's very frustrating for me knowing that on any given 5-minute period, 1,500 people are active on our page, members of the page, and viewership on every post. When I tag everybody, within an hour, 3,000 people on the page have looked at the post. So when I see only 87 likes, hardly any shares, group shares I've done after the fact, but I get to see the post activity on the page. That's gut-wrenching that many Canada 51st Staters are sitting around on their hands. Somebody else do it for me. Donald J. Trump do it for me. America doesn't want those kind of losers. I'm sorry, I have to say it that way. This is why a 96 percentile of Americans don't want any Canadians. If it was up to them, and thank God it's not, if it was up to Americans, there would be no talk of Canada the 51st State. They don't want you. Cross Republican and Democrat alike, they don't like the way Canadians are, how Canadians think, really the ignorance of Canadians. I'm being honest here, I see it. I've traveled so much in America, it's very refreshing. I know I need another trip just to get my head screwed on straight, but you gotta work as the slave to generate the cash to do that. As our value goes down constantly, it's pathetic. It's really, really pathetic. And I'm not trying to be a whiner, but how can people be so ignorant of the truth? How can you wantingly want to be lied to so bad? How can you be a person that thinks you deserve so much from everybody else you don't know? When it's so hard to raise a family, I think about how much I have to put into just my own children and the exorbitant taxes I pay. Well over 50% when you add up all sources, but just where we are in income tax and GSTs, provincial PSTs, it's unbelievable. We start adding up all the rest, the fees, the excise, the sin, the property, the municipal. It's astronomical already. And what we're facing to appease USA, whether it's liberal or conservative, which liberals say, don't worry, we'll just keep borrowing against all of you, devaluing you and your children, raising inflation until somebody says you have to raise taxes. And then we'll just smash your ass. Whereas conservatives say, we're just going to raise the taxes. Don't worry, we'll get it done. They don't tell you this, of course, but as soon as you elect them, that's what you're getting. And then they'll still blow the money. Liberals and conservatives will still blow the money like drunken sailors on everything not what they're supposed to do. Folks, I gotta go to work. That's my video. I'm really gonna have to pound out this week to try and trickle in these last couple hundred signatures. It's very awful. It's awful the lies told on the news. Yes, blood quantum. You have to be a real Indian at a minimum of 50% in the United States. If you're not, you got a full beard, rings, you're bald on the top, you clearly don't look all Indian. And even if you were raised on the reserve, I saw the one guy with his kid. I'm sorry, bud, you're bred out. Indians don't grow facial hair. You're walking around with a full beard. You probably should have shaved if you were going to go hit ICE on the border and you're like, yo, what's up, man? And you look like a white guy. You really do, man. It's terrible. Go under the radar, because America's not fucking around with anybody in Canada and Canada's bullshit. And remember, First Nations, you get the Jade Treaty by America, but Canada dissolved it in 1952. They said, fuck you, savages. Those chiefs right across Canada are making epic sums, and all the Canadian government is making even more sums, while all the savages on the reserve, the little First Nation folks, are suffering at incredible rates. Incredible welfare rates. Denied everything of who those people are. It's amazing they're still alive. It's amazing they're not wiped out. The fortitude of the red race is unbelievable. Highly valued and respected in the United States of America. Highly respected and valued from a history of massive generations of Indian wars. And they have found their place in America. America was assimilated by them. Believe it or not, it's true. When you say you hate America, it's because you hate the Indians. That's what you hate. And it's your racism. And you'll never get that from the Crown liars, who are the pieces of shit, who are actually the genocidal maniacs over those people in a slow death, because they can't put them in chains. They're highly resistant. That comes from tens of thousands of years of a different political evolution. An evolution that America's found well. One of the most powerful nations in the world. And if you haven't noticed, Russia was assimilated too. Not all the way, but a lot of it's there. Their federalism, their military, all of that. That's Indian, folks. There's only 5 countries in the world like that. And USA and Russia are about the most. And what? Why? Because they're the most infused with the North American Indian, Siberian Indians, who were all through all that area. That's my truth. That's my video. I'm going to do this special. I'm going to take my time on it. And I'm going to get that out as fast as possible. Because propaganda bullshit, UK and Canada are at their full worst. Their full worst evil. Man, there is no propagandist in the world like that colonial empire system. 5,000 years strong kingdom empires, and are the masters of instituting populations and propaganda like no other liars. They're the best developed lying peoples the world's ever known. 5,000 years of practice. Just sick. If you haven't seen all of Epstein, of course the British are there. But the worst is British Columbia. Hey, British Columbia. You find all the Epstein perverts including who? Elon Musk. I always knew he was a fuck and a piece of shit. I've always stated that. I know where he comes from. I've tracked his whole family. I know how evil and sick they are. I know how they got their wealth. It's all true. And sure enough, he shows up in Epstein Island. He showed up all through BC too. Same time periods. Man, you can't make this shit up. It's unreal. And I knew that fuck was one of them too. But all of the sickest American individuals corrupted, all part of the agendas, of course, British agendas. These Americans were all doing the TED program in BC. All of them on Epstein's files were all doing the TED program 4 years after he was convicted. He was only shut down, and those fucking perverts were shut down in BC 5 years after the fact, only by the pressure of America and America's attention to it. Can't make this stuff up. Canada is so broken. The Canadian people, the First Peoples, you're so overwhelmingly broken, so subdued, so enslaved, so instituted. It's so bad. You know, America, man, we need it. I just pray this week we get this last 200 run of signatures. I mean, I think it's about 170, but I can see now we're at a wall of cowards and really losers. Do it for me. Me. Do it for me. Mama, Baba. Can you imagine the rest of those outside of Canada, the 51st state? 10 times worse. Can't wait to do the Indian program as it really is. I'm going to spend time on that when I can. It's got to be done quick. I got to make time for it. God bless everybody. Love you all. Time to go to work. Bye now.